Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sardinia, to Olbi and Costa Smeralda Airport. This early morning flight will take us from Olbi all the way up to Bolzano in northern Italy in the Alps. And we will be doing a nice sunrise departure here before we turn right, head out over the Mediterranean Sea, cross up over past Corsica and into northern Italy. My time today is scheduled about 1 hour and 20 minutes, but with a few shortcuts, we're more likely to get a real-world time of 1 hour 15 minutes. The aircraft is powered up for us in this beautiful Sky Alps Eco livery. We've done the walk around. All the tie downs and the protection for the night has been removed by the ground crew. And I've done some initial performance calculations as well. So let's quickly jump into the cockpit. And let's have a little low. First, we check that nothing's turned on here, especially the nose wheel steering. That's really important if you're doing pushback. This needs to be off because when the hydraulics are pressurized, you can get movement in the nose wheel assembly, and if you have a tow bar connected, that can damage or even break the tow bar and the nose wheel. Moving on. Flight levers are idle, park brake is set, and we have park brake pressure, flaps is up, cutoff levers are in cutoff, radios we'll have a look at later on. The FMSs are started and all the buttons are in the right place. FMS 1, VR 2, shortest range, and same here, but VR 1, FMS 2. That's the standard setup. If you're flying visually, you can brief with having them off, if you don't need anything to show here on the navigation displays. We've selected the HSI selector to the right side. We'll be flying from the first officer side today, and I'll select the GPS landing flap selector to 15. That's more likely to use if we for some reason have to come back after engine failure or something during the departure. This might of course also depend on what airport you're flying from. In the roof we have the W scan pattern, and all the batteries are turned on, the gens and bus ties on, and we're running on external power. All the ice protection is turned off. Exterior lights are off. And we have a little bit of lights on. APU is off. We won't need that today. We could start it just to get some air condition, but we're not going to bother with that today. Engine start, everything is off. And the pressurization panel, just make sure that this switch is in auto, or else when you reach 12,000 feet, you'll get a warning about pressurization. And that the forward outflow valve control is closed. We have wing inspection light off, and beacon strobe is off. Positions and logo light is on. We'll wait with the fasten seatbelt sign until we reload the fuel, but once boarding starts, we have armed the emergency lights. Packs are in auto. Temperatures, we'll reduce them a little bit. It's going to be hot here today. And the recirc fan is running with bleeds off, which is normal for takeoff. And finally, AC gens are on. Over here, let's just check that we have at least 1300 psi of oxygen pressure for a 2-crew operation, and 1800 if you are running with something like a supervisor or instructor on the jump seat. Gas pressure will rise once we start the engines. Hydraulic quantities, very, very high, but okay. It's at least there. Gear selector is down, and the anti-skid test has been done with no lights showing up here. So let's just complete the load. Today we have 60 passengers. I've entered a somewhat heavy but reasonable number in the cargo. And as I've mentioned previously, SimBrief is very happy to fill all of your cargo holds with 1500 kilos of load. We use the forward hold very rarely, so getting a number over 1,000 kilos for load is that's high. So 300 to 700 kilos depending on passengers, if it's a weekday where we have less leisure travel, or a weekend or a holiday where you might get more tourists or people flying to go home for the weekend, then you might see more cargo. So let's say this is one of those days on a typical business trip between two large cities in the morning. I've been down to 70 kilos of cargo, and we actually had to put sandbags in the rear cargo hold to get it within weight and balance limits. Like I said, it's about 1 hour 15. We have plenty of fuel for such a short flight. This is just to get us out of Bolzano, the area, if we have to go to an alternate, and today that is Milan. We still have a lot of fuel, but we'll go with what SimBrief gave us here. Will give us almost 27 tons of ramp weight. And for takeoff, it's almost the same. We're burning about 50 kilos during the taxi. So let's sum this up. Outside, it's 32 degrees. Taxi, it's about 5 minutes here. Reserve will be higher due to our alternate, but we're not gonna mess with this here. We'll put it in the FMS, and we have it in the OFP. So taxi fuel doesn't even change here, but 50 to 70 kilos for a normal taxi in a smaller airport like this, and a bit higher if you're at a big airport like, let's say, Helsinki, Amsterdam, where you can have a higher or a longer taxi. That, but you would just adjust for that. It really doesn't use a lot of fuel for taxi, so it's a pretty economical aircraft. As we can see, it's estimated to land with 2,000 kilos of fuel, and the OFP actually says that the trip fuel is 1,476. So I'm not sure where this add-on is taking these numbers, because this is very high. For an hour, including higher burn during climb, let's say 1,000 kilos. And yeah, during cruise, if you're doing economy cruise, about 400 to 450 kilos for each engine per hour. So 800 to 900 kilos, and upward of 1,000 plus if you have to increase the speed. So let's confirm this load and do a fast load, meaning we can also fasten the seat belt signs, or safety belts, like we're supposed to call them, to make it more serious sounding. And in the FMS, let's pull up Navigraph, our flight plan. From Olbi to Bolzano. Enter, and our routing today is out to Olbi, to Nemit, and then to Omaku, and Adosa, direct Vik, and then it's the arrival. So let's first enter our departure. We could do runway 01 actually, though the weather, it's 9 knots from 260, but it's no problem for us taking off with a little bit of tailwind. 10 knots is not an issue at all. It's just it's a pretty short runway here for a medium heavy aircraft. But since it's the first departure today, we're gonna use NTOP power. So I've done the real world calculation, and we have about 250 meters of stop margin if we use runway 05. And since that gives us a little bit shorter track, we don't have to turn back around, and a nice sunrise takeoff, we'll do that. And we said it's Olbi 8 Quebec. No, that was for 2-3. So let me just change the runway here. Runway 05. Olbi 6 kilo sounds better. Number 11 and enter. And we are arriving Bolzano, runway 01 via the Vic 1 X-ray. After that, we'll follow the RNAV via 4 and enter. No discontinuities here. Very good. We're never reaching 26, so let's just remove that. The highest we can go is 25 anyway. And today we will be going 240. So let's enter 240 here as a reminder. And if we have a look, Olbi 6 kilo. That is climb 420 feet, Echo Oscar 603, above 3.5, Olbi above 9.5. So that's checked, nothing special, just obstacles. And the rest of the route we've checked, and we'll do arrival briefing. Having looked at Flight Radar and the real route, let's just bring up our complete flight plan here. As you can see, out and left turn, pass by Corsica and enter northern Italy. This dog leg here is never flown in real life. It looks like they get maybe Adosa and then either Papa Bravo 401 and 4. So that's what we're gonna give ourselves during the cruise. I'll just give ourselves a little shortcut there, and we'll follow this arrival straight down the valley. Let's add it right away. So as we can see, it's straight down here past this mountain, and that's the missed approach point where we will be visual and turning into the runway. It's a pretty short runway at Bolzano as well, so we will have to be established early on It's 4.48 degrees on the glide slope. So again, having looked at their real-world flight profiles, at about 9 to 10,000 feet, they are reducing to 200 knots, and I'm guessing starting to configure something already there. I've tried this route already, and not sure if it's part of the FlyJSim Q400's flight profile and dynamics with props, power, and drag modeling. But we need to be configured very early here. It's very hard to slow down. It is a steep approach, of course. Ironically, not equipped for steep approach, but these aircraft fly in there every day, so we're gonna ignore that one. And I'm just gonna be conservative on this flight and start configuring very early, or else we will have problems slowing down later on. Very good. And in the fuel, we are going to use some real-world data here. The aircraft I'm simulating has about 364 as basic weight. We have 60 passengers, and at my company we use 0 as passenger weight and just add everything in the cargo. So for cargo payload we have 5547. Let's bring up the fuel. Fuel 3420. Aha. 18364. It was a little bit high. 3420. So that's about the weight. My calculation said 27270. So this is within the gross weight check limits. It's never gonna be the same as you get in your calculations. It's gonna be about 100 kilos off. So cross-loaded it to FMS 1, so we have the same flight plan and fuel data here. We can also do the pre-flight checklist. So flight deck is checked left and checked right. That includes checking all the circuit breakers, checking that we have all the equipment back here, PBE, gear pins. It's supposed to be 5, they're only modeling 3 here. 2 flashlights that working, an X fire extinguisher, check oxygen. They don't have the masks modeled here. Should be 1 here, 1 up here, and 1 for the captain over here. And you would check down here that you get 3 green lights. It should not give a caution light, but okay, let's hope we didn't break anything. We'll soon find out when we take off if we can retract the landing gear or not. We would also check that the hatch is closed, landing gear alternate release door is fully closed, and that the switch as well is off and guarded. So flight deck checked left and right, battery switches 4 on, reading 27.8 volts, Altimeters today 1013, easy to remember. Park brake on, fuel 3420, and seat signs on. Checklist complete. Before we move on, I'm gonna turn off these lights. That gives a little bit less glare on the screens, because this door... there's a click spot here doing the main door. That's interesting. Let's just close that again. That gave a warning light, that's correct. So everything is set. I also have real-world speeds, and we can press here to get the built-in speeds. My calculations show 129, 129, 131, and FlyGSim for some reason turns these two around, at least from what I'm used to. VFry 140 and VFTO 152. So it's within 1 or 2 knots. Very good. But one bug they have here is these numbers go away when you, I think it's remove the external power. So just remember to click the click spot here again before you start your takeoff run. And let's say we're cleared 6,000 feet initially. And the setup would be go around, heading, altitude, select, 6,000 feet, and standard acceleration on MDA is 500 feet above airfield. So let's just say 580 here. And I have FMS2 as nav source, VR1, FMS2, and we'll just go off. I haven't tuned anything, so off is the correct thing to say. So that's the departure briefing. We've checked the departure and we've checked the charts. We are then ready for startup. So we would ask the ground crew if departure check is complete. And they should have removed all the cones, of course. I don't think we can do anything. Nope. So we'll ignore that little thing and ask ground for startup. And when they give that, just make sure here we have heading, same as the runway. Since we're taking off in heading select, that's important to get the correct flight director during the rotation. So, we're clear to start. We would put beacon to red and start checklist. Doors, fuel and lights are out. Anti-collision to red, and it's checked left and right. Checklist complete. Ready to start number 2. Starting 2. Select to number 2 and press the start select. Wait for NH and introduce fuel. We would see hydraulic pressure rising a little bit slower than this. Oil pressure is rising. Fuel, NL, ITT, and the props will start spinning. That looks like a good start. And select switch has jumped back to the middle, and start select or starter switch is extinguished, meaning we would check that the battery is below 0.30 and start number 1. We can do bright on the lights now that the sun has come up. Fuel, or we have NH, introduce fuel. Hydraulic pressure, oil pressure, fuel, ITT, and prop. And NH and NL compressor stagers are spinning, so no hung start. That's the cutout. So now we're just waiting for start select. We can remove external power and go on the internals. And this is when, yep, the speeds are gone again. Start complete. Ground crew, you may remove ground power and chocks and headset. Have a nice day. Disconnect and, well, we still have the combs. That's nice, and the chocks. Okay. Ignoring that, Captain would now push the condition levers forward. If we are doing reduced takeoff, press the reduced POP decrease button 5 times to get full reduction. Once the AC gens are online, we can set flaps, do autofeather, fuel, aux pumps, and hydraulic standby pumps and isolation valve on. Do a elevator test, turn it off and wiggle the elevator to reduce the pressure. The simulator does it automatically. Doing the wiggle would also remove the caution light. On the captain's side, first tie goes off, pitot-static on, windshield to warm up when we're over 20 degrees outside. If it's under that, you can do normal. We just do taxi light now. Let's say we have the all clear, and that looks good. We can also do bleed after about 30 seconds on the ground if it's very hot. Test the spoilers, check the PF CS as well. Yaw damper goes on, rudder, and nav on the displays, weather radar to standby, and nose wheel steering goes on. Okay, we're ready to taxi. Let's bring them to disc and brakes, park brake off, and taxi. We're cleared left and right, left turn. Wheel taxi left and next left onto Mike. Then we'll follow Golf down to Foxtrot for a 05 departure. Next on the left is Echo. That's wrong. But this is an old scenery, so it might... Yeah, it's probably that they've changed the taxiway designations. That's the most likely thing. So this here is the remote apron. We are cleared to line up. Lights go on. Strobes to white. Bleeds off. Ding the cabin. Gust locks go off and do a control test. Spoilers go to flight. Check flaps and condition levers. And before takeoff checklist. Caution warning lights clear. Cabin clear received. Flight controls checked. Spoilers flight. Checklist complete. Let's see if... nope, that doesn't behave today as well. I'm not sure. I've done everything that we usually do, so I'm not sure what this add-on is complaining about. Taxi light off to signal cleared for takeoff. And we're on runway 05, heading 054. We have V1 VR 127, 6,000 feet set, altitude select, and forgot the transponder. Transponder checked. We have TA on the ground, that's correct. Clear takeoff. I want the control display on when doing this. Advance the power until the auto feather arms. Pilot monitoring. Power set. $80 knots. V1 rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Gear up checked. Select LNAV. LNAV selected. 400 feet. Flaps 0. And don't forget to put on the bleeds. Flaps 0 checked. Set climb power 900. Auto feather goes off and bring the condition levers back to 900. Climb power set. Autopilot engaged. Indicated airspeed. Let's do 185 for the initial climb. After takeoff flow, just check gear is up, flaps is 0. Turn the pumps on and quickly check leads, man dump auto switch and increasing rate. Taxi lights off and we can do the flare light off, and we'll keep the landing light on or approach light on until 10,000. We're climbing out nicely here. A beautiful morning at Costa Smeralda, and a beautiful sky alps livery. For weather, I've actually stopped using Active Sky now in X-Plane 1221 or 121. Active Sky just gave me too abrupt transitions and too localized weather, I felt. Having it on real-world download and just letting it do its thing seems to be better at the moment, and you don't get a big wind shifts when it's loading a new METAR or a big QNH change that can upset the aircraft even. And I feel that the weather in the distance is more accurately or realistically represented with real world on. So we're closing it on 6, it's actually captured. We'll do something higher here, and we'll go to pitch hold, and it doesn't want to turn. Okay, so now I have to turn on and off the autopilot for the pitch to work. That's a bug. It happens sometimes. We'll climb to 240 and 240 set, altitude select. About a 5-6 degree climb gives us a climb speed that's very close to the recommended climb tables, and it gives the cabin crew a better angle on the floor actually to push the carts around. So we have standard climb checklist, and climb checklist says gears up, flaps 0, pressurization is checked, altimeters standard, checklist complete. So now it's just gonna climb itself up to 240. At 230 we'll get the pre-level beep. We'll just check that we have standard and altitude select is correct. Check that the aircraft captures the altitude, nothing untowards happens. And then we'll set cruise power and scoot along up to Bolzano. That's top of climb. 240 altitude capture. We'll reduce the condition levers to 850. And no auto throttle, of course, so we will have to monitor the torque. And if we quickly bring up the OFP, today we are filed through airspeed of 325. We'll let the true build to 325, reduce the torque a little bit, and just cruise on over. And we just got a direct to Adosa, number 6. Slight left turn, saving a couple of minutes here. And after Adosa, let's do the same here. So they're equal, and turn off the pointer as well. After Adosa, we are told to expect direct to Papa Bravo 401. We'll do number 10 here over Wick, bringing Papa Bravo 401 up to there, and leads us into the RNAV approach. Speed is building very slowly. This model is sadly a little bit underpowered, and you can also see that when it's climbing up, at least for the final few thousand feet, 600-700 feet per minute. That's it's too slow, but it is what it is. Maybe they'll fix it one day. So once we are established on the cruise speed and power setting, we can calculate VNAV profile as well. And today we have a little bit of headwind. We'll see how that develops once we get closer. With headwind, you can do a little bit of a sleeper approach because you have lower ground speed. And if you have a tailwind, you have to be conservative and start down sooner, since you'll be pushed along as well. And of course, our goal is idle thrust descent to save fuel. In reality, it's very hard to get it perfect, but you can get very close. Very lovely view here of Corsica. A lovely weather today. And this island coming up is Elba, it looks like on the maps. So the speed is almost there. Can reduce the torque just a little bit now. Since this model is slightly underpowered, it will be a little bit higher than I think it normally should be. Let's just keep it there and I'll monitor it, and I can start on a profile of 2,000 feet, meaning we have 40 minutes of cruise ahead of us. So just sit back, relax, enjoy the views, and I'll see you at top of descent. Some mountains coming up, and the same with top of descent. We will start down, vertical speed -500 and VNAV armed. And let's say we're cleared to 12, flight level 120. That's one of the altitudes on the chart. The message just says top of descent alert, remove it. And we're keeping about 2,000 with a little bit of headwind. Remember to reduce the torque so you don't overspeed and get too fast. Further down this approach, we will have to lose quite a bit of speed. So you might as well just start by not having too much in the beginning. At the same time, we want to be efficient, so we'll just keep the speed up now while we're on vertical speed. and then the VNAV captures will reduce even more. And now I forgot one important thing when setting the new altitude. Altitude select, or else it's just gonna bust straight through it and continue the descent. So I'm reducing the torque even more. And during the cruise I have calculated some ref speeds for the landing. I've moved the GPS landing flap switch to 35. Not sure if we need the steep. I don't think so, but with X-Plane's tendency to give terrain warning, let's give this one a try today. It should just stop that warning going off all the time. Okay, we're continuing down. 220 is fine. We can have a quick look at where we are. We're starting in on the approach. They're doing the Adosa approach instead, so we could have programmed that. But it's the same. We're Adosa to Papa Bravo 401, then 4, max 210 and 120. And that's fine in the box. The speed we have to control ourselves. We can start bringing it back to 210 already. And after 4, it's Papa Bravo 912 at 7,000 max 200. Into the approach, 912, yeah, and 1913, 914, and 819. Final approach fix is 913, 5006. We'll do a check there, and a missed approach. Proceed 003 to Papa Bravo 821, left turn. And we have some max bank and speeds. To 165 track, and Papa Bravo 939, 936, right turn 913, 912, and back to 4 at 100. And either a hold or a new approach from there. Keeping an eye on the speed. We can fasten the seat signs or seat belts. Prepare for that. And everything else looks good. Once we get a little bit lower, we'll turn on the hydraulic and tank ox pumps. The speeds calculated here, as I said, for flap 35, they were pretty close to what the real to what the add-on gives, but add-on gave a very low VFTO, the bigger number. The VREF was exactly the same, so that's good. That's the number you're aiming for anyway. But I've used my real calculator. And we'll continue with that. We've looked at the briefing. Let's remove Navigraph. And today's landing, flap 35, condition levels will be max. Speeds are set, and we've briefed the approach. I will just have a quick look at the localizer as well. That's 109.1, and that's already tuned, meaning if we do VR1 FMS 2 here, yep, VR1, that looks a little bit close. Oh, actually it might be right. Let's decrease the distance here. That's 20. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. So we're coming down nicely. Since it's pretty high altitude, I'm just gonna let the speed continue down, and we'll do the pumps now before we forget them. And the same for lights. That's for 10,000, and we have a technique with memory to do this one for cabin clear, and the taxi light will be for clear to land. But that's good. We can already see down to the airport in the valley. Quite a spectacular approach here in the Alps. And I think the new atmospheric weather system in X-Plane is doing a very good job now. And we're keeping the speed down. So 4 is 120, and we're gonna reach that. Next will be 7,000 feet. On QNH 1011. Passing 12.9 is set and cross-checked. We can do approach checklist. Approach briefing complete. VREF 116 and altimeters 1011. Checklist complete. Keep the speed coming back now. And as I said in the beginning, I'm gonna be more conservative here in the add-on than I might be in the real aircraft. As you can see, we're gonna do gear down flap 5 because we are not gonna be able to keep the speed down here in the add-on without doing that. Let's see, we can just... It's inefficient, but it will work and it will get us down at least. This might be a bigger issue if you came in here with clouds and icing. You might get too much build-up on the gear, for example. But then again, the real aircraft would probably handle this a little bit differently. It is beautiful here now. So we have Papa Bravo 9er12. After that, its final approach fixed at 5,600. We can see the approach is armed on the nav page, and that should turn active after or at 913. I'm gonna turn on the control display again. So it's not reading any wind now, and from my information here it says 1704 knots. Okay, let's continue to 5.6. Altitude select. Speed is nice and stable. We have a scale change on the FMS, and that's when it's activating the approach. So now we have Bolzano RNAV 01, meaning we're in approach mode and we can remove the altitude select. And after that, I'll set the missed approach altitude, 10,000 feet, flight level 100. Airport altitude is 770. Since I don't need the props yet, I'll wait with them until we get closer. It just saves a little bit of, maybe a little bit of fuel, but mostly it's noise reduction. Let's call it clear to land, and I'm gonna set the bleeds to min in preparation for the flaps. Landing or call should be done when you're putting the gear down. Now we can see we have a slight tailwind. And I'm gonna do flap 15. And from here I'm just gonna fly it manually. The autopilot disengage. And system standby. The flaps 15 is set and checked. Keep the speed coming down. Condition levers max.
2500.
Radio height 1011 3700. And speed really doesn't want to come down, so I'm gonna dive it down a little bit. Watch out for the flap speed and level off. Speed just doesn't want to come down. This is not realistic. And lap 35. We're on the Pappies. And yeah, not sure why the stall speed strip is on the ref. That's not right at all. Landing in these very calm conditions with flap 35, you should get within about 5 knots. Disregard. Okay, the button doesn't do anything. And there is no glide slope here. Watch the speed. Yeah, we're on the glide slope. That's just not realistic and annoying. Keep the speed coming down. It will get very floaty, so it's even a pull-up.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Back to disc and brake. "60 knots, control locks on." And let's taxi into the ramp. Flaps can come up. First tie, anti-icing goes off. So, it's so annoying in this aircraft. You're getting glide slopes, you're getting pull-ups, terrains on so many airports. I don't know if it's this add-on or if it's X-Plane, but it's not realistic. It really ruins the immersion. All the lights come off. Beacon goes to red. And we'll find a spot over here. Spoilers to taxi, yaw damper off, fuel pumps go off, system, fuel system, and weather radar off. Let's take this one. Taxi light off. About here. Park brake set and engines to feather. Let them cool down. Wait for external power. They are connecting. Leads go off. Seat signs go off. Emergency lights are off. Hydraulic pumps off. And transponder to standby. GPU is on. And we have external power. It's online. Everything is good. 30 seconds and engines go off. So now it's gonna ding at us for everything. Oil pressures and hydraulic pressures and everything. Prop stop spinning. Red light goes off. And that's everything in the roof for now. For shutdown, we have external power, so the batteries go off. Nose wheel steering goes off. And we can do the shutdown checklist. Shutdown checklist, park brakes on, nose wheel steering is off, external power is on, and battery switches are off. Checklist complete. So that completes the flight into the Alps into Bolzano. It's a nice little airport. It would also be cool to try to land the other way in here. So maybe we'll do that another time. Hope you enjoyed this flight here with Sky Alps in the Dash 8. And we have more videos coming up as well. If there's any special destinations you would like to see, or anything technical or questions, please leave a comment below. And as usual, like, subscribe if you like my videos. It really helps to build the channel. And I hope to see you next time. Have a nice day.